Hi everyone! Welcome back to the channel for the first of hopefully many videos with other people. People that I know and play games with. And this is someone I know. This is my wife Amy. Which most of you probably also know because I only have people who watch my videos who actually know me, which is great. So, today we're going to do a list of Amy's choosing. So, first of all, Amy, what do you like about games? What kind of games do you like to play?
Yeah, I think my favorite types of games to play are probably asymmetrical ones, cooperative games, and, well, at least when it comes to, like, heavier types of games. So, and I just love games that make me happy even if I do really poorly. So like games that have cute animals or fun facts that I can learn or interesting science and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
I am a pretty conflict averse person in general, so generally I like low conflict games, but there are some games on this list that we'll explore today that are pretty high conflict.
So what's the list that you've chosen to do as my first guest?
So yeah, I created several lists ahead of this because I had a really hard time choosing just a strict top 10. So for a future episode, we can explore my top 10 light to medium level games, but today we're going to explore my top 10 medium to heavy type games.
Okay. And I will say, I'm not going to debate any of these things with you, but it's a big debate within the board game community as to what is a heavy game, what is a medium game.
That's fair.
So we just won't touch that with
Okay.
the 10-foot pole.
Okay.
So top 10 medium to heavy games. Now, are these... I won't ask that. I was going to ask if these are all games that we have that you can show me. You can tell me that if you want or not, because I don't know what you've chosen. So, okay. Okay, go ahead. Get started. Number 10.
Okay, so number 10 is...
I can't see it, by the way. She's got them hidden over there.
Yes, I hid them all so that way Kyle wouldn't know what I have. Number 10 is Honey Buzz.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
I really like Honey Buzz, in part because I love bees. You know this. You know I'm
Obviously.
a big fan of bees.
Yes.
And just the fact that it's like worker placement, but also like a tile laying game. Those are two things that I do really like a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, I've only played this the one time. I gotta play it more before I know how much I like it. But that is cool that you like it so much.
Yeah. So one of the cool things that I do like about this game is it has the most edible looking pieces in all of board gamery.
That's a high claim.
I know, like there are some other games on this list that also have really delicious looking pieces. Also, like the box insert is so nice and like everything fits so beautifully. But these pieces, the little honey pieces, the little honey pieces, are like I just want to chew them.
Squishy.
They're so squishy and satisfying, and I love that.
This one looks like a star.
Yes.
Cool.
And then of course, like, there's a fun aspect where on this board there's usually like a mix of tiles and you're trying to find the right flowers to produce the right nectar and honey for the goals that you're trying to achieve for this little market, the little honey market, where you are trying to like meet the desires of the animal consumer.
Right.
So even if I do really poorly, I think this game is really sweet, and that's one of the reasons why I love it so much.
Okay. Good choice.
Yeah. So Honey Buzz, number 10.
Cool. I'll put them down over here once you're done.
Okay. Number 9 is very different. Number 9 is Role Player.
Wow. If I had sat down to put what I thought was on your top 10, this would be one of them.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Role Player is an excellent game that is so cheesy because you are creating like the stats for a character in the classic like D&D class style, you know, to really like assemble all the different parts of these different characters through the magic of dice rolling.
Yeah.
And I love rolling dice. Rolling dice is one of my favorite game tools.
There are times when we're going to play a game and I'll ask Aimee what she wants to play and she says something that involves dice. Just so she can roll a bunch of dice.
It's just a great tactile experience.
That made me think of another game that's probably on this stuff.
So yeah, you're creating like a stat sheet for example, a halfling. You get a little alignment card for, you know, whether they are lawful, chaotic, evil, or good. You figure out a class for them. You get a backstory.
I love the backstories in this game.
Yes, it's
like,
so fun.
I'm trying to find where the cards are right here, but these are the marked ones.
Here's the backstory cards.
Yeah. Sorry, continue while I find a good one.
Yeah, so I love, number one, just like getting to choose which type of character I'm going to be. So there's Wrathborn here. We have Dark Elves. We have constructs, so like robots. We have...
Oh, I forgot I had this one now.
Bastia, which are like cat people.
Because these are from the expansion.
Yeah, we got an expansion.
Have we played?
Yes, one time.
Okay.
We got gnomes. Love the gnomes. Dragonkin.
Yeah. We won't go there.
Yeah, we won't go there. Humans, of course, you know, classic.
So...
Dwarves. I love the lady dwarf. She's stunning. We got orcs and then halflings, as I mentioned, and then elf. And the lady elf looks like, oh my gosh, Cate Blanchett.
Yeah. Galadriel.
But yeah, but like Galadriel with dark hair, which is, she's beautiful.
So here's a backstory. Street urchin, big fan of that one. You know, hunter, aristocrat. Cartographer, this is it's a promo because this is from the same company that makes cartographers. So they, all of their games, the game, it has, or the universe has a name now, I can't remember what it is, but all of their games are like set in the role player universe, which role player is just based on D&D, which is very funny. So it's like set in the D&D universe kind of. Cool! Yes.
Yeah. So I don't know, I love this game. I think it's so silly and so fun. So I love getting this to the table. It's a little harder to get to the table than some of the others on this list. But when I'm really in the mood to roll dice and just create silly characters, that's one of my favorites.
Cool.
Yeah. So,
yes.
Number 8.
Number 8.
Is parks.
Nice!
Yeah. We also have trails, which is like the lighter version of this, and Kyle likes trails more. But I like parks because it's longer and because you get to explore.
We don't need to open every game and go through all the components.
Sorry.
Because the video will take too long.
That's fair.
What about my metrics? What are my dozens of devoted fans? What are they expecting?
So in parks, you are basically like visiting different national parks, trying to collect the different resources that you need from hiking these trails to be able to visit different parks.
Yeah.
You can also get tools and items like, I think there's like binoculars, canteens, stuff like that. Yeah, I love national parks. I love visiting them, and the artwork in here is just stunning.
Exactly what I was going to say. Like, all the parks look beautiful. I will say, I like this game more now after playing it solo. The solo game was surprisingly good.
I didn't know there was this. I mean, it says players 1 through 5.
1 through 5, exactly.
So,
there are some games I'm not a big fan of that are kind of just like collect resources and then pay them toward a common goal, which this kind of has. But I think that's more interesting because you have the path.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it.
Good choice.
Thank you. Thank you. Big fan. I've taken it camping with me before. It's, of course, very thematic. Yeah. So. Okay, number 7 is one that Kyle's not a huge fan of.
Oh, yes.
Meadow.
The Meadow. It's pretty. I'll give it that.
It's so beautiful. So in Meadow, you're playing as just like, you know, a little just a person who's like going through the countryside, the meadow, if you will, and encountering different creatures, different landmarks, different hillsides, and stuff like that. And I think that the way that you play, the way that you choose the things that you encounter is kind of neat, because there are these like tokens that everyone has, and they allow them to do like 2 different abilities. Either choose a card that's a certain number of spaces away from the edge, or the bottom action, which is like, you know, like get landscape pieces, or, you know, draw 3 from the deck and choose any one of those, sort of thing. And I love that I have to really think and be clever about like how I'm going to go about collecting the cards, and they like chain into each other. You can only get certain other cards if you have other symbols, and I always feel clever when I play this game.
That's a good feeling. I like games that make you feel clever.
And even if I don't do excellent, the art is so beautiful, and I'm always, like, at the end of the game, I like to go around the table and ask people what their favorite creature was, or what their favorite card was that they got to collect during the course of the game.
My favorite creature is walking around down here.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
Domino.
Domino is down in here. I don't know if you guys can see him on the camera.
Hi.
Yeah. So that's Meadow. It's
I should
beautiful.
play it again. I should. Yeah. I think... I don't know. I can't... it's been so long since I played it that I can't remember what I didn't like about it exactly. So, but yeah. Okay.
That's fair.
Nice.
Okay, so that was number
so 7, right?
Yeah, so this is number 6.
Number 6.
Number 6 is Terraforming Mars.
When you said it makes you feel clever, I was like, reminds me of Terraforming Mars.
Yes.
So
yes.
I'm a little surprised it's this low, because I know you love this game.
I do love this game. I mean, I just followed I used the tool on PubMeeple to rank the top 10 games that I chose, and so I just followed that ranking, and I'm like, I trusted it enough. I'm not gonna argue with it.
Sure.
So yeah, Terraforming Mars is excellent. It's you know, I think Kyle's probably talked about it before, but it's based on, you know, like real theoretical science about like how Mars could be terraformed. And so I love that. I love that there are cards in here that I think really explore like the science of what that would be like. And that makes me really happy. And because you get the choice of playing so many different cards in the game. Yes. Yeah. Like, because you're chaining things together, you get to feel so clever.
You get that little feedback loop of like, I did this, which moves this, and moves this, and moves this, and now I'm in a better position than I was 5 seconds ago. And it feels great.
Yes.
I am excited as well, because I backed on Kickstarter the Prelude 2 expansion. So it will be coming out later this year, probably, like around July.
Excellent. So, yeah, we love getting this to the table. It's really easy to get to the table in our household.
Which is weird because it's long, but everyone loves it. Mary and Sarah both love this game. And that makes it easier. Yeah. So nice. Yeah. Good choice.
Number 5 is Roots.
Yes. Well, formerly your number 1.
Formerly my number 1 game. I adore this game so much. It is so cute and so ferocious, and the artwork is so beautiful. Kyle Farron does an excellent job with everything at later games.
It's so hard.
It is very hard. So this is an asymmetrical game. There was another asymmetrical game that was, I think, in my top 15, which was Disney Villainous. But it didn't make it to the top 10 because I just love Root so much more. Like, when it comes down to it, the fact that it is more difficult and that it is so much more beautiful, I think makes a difference. So
I will say one thing about this, more so than a lot of other asymmetric games, you really feel the theming, and not just because of the art, but because, like, the way that the Corvids, for example, the way that they act is very in alignment with what their faction theme is. So, like, they are sneaky guys, setting up traps, like, trying to blow up things.
So I was going to mention briefly my top 3 factions to play, and I want Kyle to go through at least his top 2.
Okay.
So, my Third in line is the River Folk Company. They are otters, and they're so cute. They're little teal pieces, and
they're so hard to play.
They are very difficult to play, and you need at least 4 people playing to be able to do well with these guys, in my opinion, because the function is basically economics,
right,
and trying to run a marketplace.
You also need people who have played before and are therefore willing to like engage with you. Because if you play with new people who are not willing to cooperate with someone in a purely competitive game,
that's accurate.
Because they're not used to that in most competitive games, then it just doesn't work. Yeah. But yeah, they are an interesting faction. So.
The second favorite one to play with is the Corvid Conspiracy. Nice. Usually, I think the reason why the otters are in my top 3 is because I like trying to play non-violently.
Yeah.
In this game that is just a very high conflict. I like try to do creative things to be able to win without killing a bunch of people.
Yes.
But on the complete opposite end of that is the Corvids.
So when the Corvids set up a bomb that destroys all these people.
Yeah, so the Corvids they're just a really interesting faction to get to play. I think you really have to be clever about how you go about it. Yeah. And of course, my absolute favorite to play, I have like the pin of him and everything, is the Vagabond. And we have the whole like Vagabond expansion, so we have all the different little meeples and all the different cards. So you can play as all the different Vagabond characters if you want.
Which is cool.
My personal favorite to play with is the Tinker. He's the beaver character.
He's OP. He's so good.
He's so good.
Because he does the crafting more.
Yes, he does the crafting. Well, and the thing is, like, when you have the Tinker, I think you really can avoid having, like, feeling like you have to do violence to be able to win.
For sure, though I will say, if you're playing against the Tinker and no one ever attacks him, he will win the game.
Yes.
So that is something to keep in mind as well.
It's true. Yeah. So those are my favorite factions. I think Kyle probably has completely different ones.
I will do very briefly, because we don't want to take up too much time. Third favorite, the Lizard Folk. These guys are insane. They want to die, and what they can do is determined by the cards that other people play. They're just absolutely insane. Second favorite, was my favorite for a long time, is the Aimee Dynasty. They do programming. I'm not a big fan of programming games, but this faction, a lot of fun trying to manage that puzzle and make sure that you can actually do the stuff. And they're good for attacking. But no one is better for attacking than the Lord of the Hundreds. It's my new favorite faction, and these guys just want to attack like crazy.
Yeah.
Big fan of them. I mean, all the factions I like to a certain extent, but like, yes, my favorite factions, my least favorite factions are probably your 3 favorite factions.
I know. We have very different tastes in games, but one of the things I love about Root is that even though we have different tastes in games generally, and different styles of play, because it's asymmetrical,
it's kind of like you're playing different games.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah. Okay, number 4.
Number 4.
Castles of League. I adore this game. The little architecture nerd in me loves the idea of like designing a castle.
Oldie but a goodie.
Yes.
It's not even that old.
We haven't played it a lot recently.
That's the thing. We used to play it a lot back
but
in the day.
When I added it to my it was like the 9th or 10th game that I added to the list, and then when I did before I did the ranking, I was like, I don't know where it's gonna end up. And the fact that it ended up in the top 5, pretty impressive.
I'm not surprised.
I love this game. I like making insane choices in this game, which involves basically
just going underground.
Number 1, I do love going underground. But number 2, I like buying up as many as possible of the stairs and the hallways.
Mad for stairs.
So in this game, you're placing a bunch of rooms, designing the
upside down. What would Rich say?
The castle of your dreams. Sorry, Rich. But I love taking the stairs down and then straight back up and then back down again and then putting a hallway at the end, because every room type, like every room size that the stack is exhausted at the end of the game, gets
2 extra points.
2 extra points, per room of that type. And so if you just buy a bunch of them, it can go pretty well.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
So, I know you've played it. I'm assuming it's not on your top 10. You much prefer this over Suburbia, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I was just curious because they have a lot of similarities in some ways. But yeah, Suburbia is Kylie's favorite game, or at least it was last time I asked him a few years ago. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like Suburbia. It's fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely Castles.
I love them both, but yeah.
I don't know. I always love getting to look at like the individual room names. And also imagining my little weird royal family living in the weird castle that I create that sometimes is just hallways.
Just full of stairs and hallways.
Yeah.
They're probably very fit.
Yes. Okay.
All right.
Number 3.
Number 3, top 3 here.
Smallest one in here is Fort.
Wow. Okay,
I know.
that is surprising to me. See, this is an example of how different we are in thinking about our favorite games, because it's because of the theme that this is so high for you. Am I wrong?
No, you're totally right.
Have I introduced you to this? I think I might have talked about it. There's some board game reviewers who I like. They're called Thinker Themer, and they're based out of Australia. And you are just like so much themer. Like that's us, but they already got the name. So yeah.
So true. So true.
Yeah. Cool. Well, sorry. Talk about Fort because I interrupted you. Yeah.
The theme in this game is just so precious. It is that you are a group of kids. Basically, you have like your leader of your faction, and then some besties that always stay with the leader of that faction. And the different factions are like the squirt gun kids, the sandbox kids,
Arts and crafts.
the arts and crafts kids, the roller skateboard kids.
Yeah.
And they all have their own fort that they are trying to build up, and they're trying to accumulate as many awesome kids for their little clubhouse, their little kid clubhouse for the neighborhood. And it's so sweet, and it reminds me of my childhood. And there are cards in this game that actually remind me of myself and my brother. I should have pulled these out ahead of time.
I say I'll give you a fun little factoid while we're looking for those. So originally this game was actually, I think that was the one you're thinking.
Yep, it is.
This game was actually themed around like Roman centurions. It was like anthropomorphic animals that were.
I got it.
Yeah, use that if you want.
Oh, amazing! Yes. So we love looking at these cards and trying to find out, like which of them look like our friends. There's one that we think looks like our friend Herb as well. But this one, we think it looks like Kyle.
Let me see if we can see the
Giggles.
card. I'm going to take it up closer.
Go ahead. And he's made some little cute art there.
It says butt on his noodle macaroni thing.
And then we got my brother, his name is Anthony. And my brother loved to do silly, dangerous things with his skateboarding friends, so I love that. And then this is me,
it's
tiny.
Baby Aimee.
I definitely have a picture of myself wearing like that jacket and a hat like that when I was a kid. And I was like, who stole a picture of me as a baby? And so I love that. We also just recently got the Cats and Dogs expansion, which we haven't played with yet.
I actually have played with the Dogs expansion. I'm sorry.
Without me.
Yeah, I think it was with Bob and his kids. But
Anyway, I love this game.
Kyle Farron's art.
Kyle Farron's art is beautiful. I just love getting to deck build, and I love the fact that if you don't play with the kids, they become available to other people to be able to steal for their own clubhouse. That just feels so perfectly thematic to me.
Nice.
So, Fort, big fan.
Good job.
3.
Okay,
number 2.
left.
What do you think it is?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I really don't know
Okay.
now.
Wingspan!
Wow.
I love Elizabeth Hargrave. She is a gem. I'm almost shocked that it took this long on the list to get an Elizabeth Hargrave game. I adore Wingspan. I love birds so much. basically in this game, you know, you're creating your own bird habitat. You're trying to get as many cool birds as possible, and you're engine building. I love engine building games, and this one is so satisfying when things work out. And the fact that you get to play, you know, like all these new birds and learn fun facts about them. Like we got to play Wormspan recently. And Kyle asked me afterwards, what do you think? Do you like this better than Wingspan? And I was like, no, I think I like Wingspan more because they are real birds and there's real fun facts. And then I get to be like, oh, how am I going to get to see this bird in the real world?
Yeah.
This game motivated me to become friends with our beloved housemate, Sarah, and also helped motivate me to get a membership to the aviary. Sarah and I went splitsies on a family premium membership to the National Aviary, which is just 10 minutes away from the house. So, I don't know. This one, just no matter how poorly I do, I always am so happy that we played.
So, question for you.
Yes.
Do you prefer playing with the Oceania boards with the nectar on it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I agree. I mean,
Yes.
I think it opens
Yes,
up the whole
I love
strategy.
the Oceania boards. I love the new expansions that have the teal powers.
Oh, yeah.
That are like between rounds.
Between rounds, yeah.
And there are new bird powers as well. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but like, yeah, the Oceania expansion. All the expansions, I never at any point want to go back to playing with just the base game if we don't have to.
Fair.
Because I love all the expansions so much. So
good choice.
Yeah, if you like nature, if you like engine building, definitely get it. Elizabeth Hargrave did an amazing job with that
Great
game.
designer. Now,
She is.
I can't help but think that you've been shadowing forecast between us talking about role player, you liking to roll a bunch of dice, and you just talking about, I can't believe it took this long to get an Elizabeth Hargrave game on the list. So, am I right?
You're right!
Wow!
It's the Fox Experiment.
Wow!
Which is a fairly new game. I
Yeah.
already had known about the Fox experiments, like the real experiments that had taken place during like the 70s through present. Like they're still ongoing.
I got a foxy guy looking at me right now.
Russians and others have been working on breeding foxes to see if they can domesticate them to be like good dominoes.
Oh, here, let's sit.
See it?
Let's see if we can. Oh. Just like that guy.
Oh, yeah.
He says,
he's
what
a
guy?
good domino.
Who are you looking at? Who are you looking
He's
at?
a good domino.
All right.
Yeah.
That sound of the camera moving around is going to be just perfect.
Yeah. So, in this game, you are also attempting to breed foxes in successive generations to make friendlier foxes. So friendliness is the gauge that you're going for here,
Yeah.
but those things have been shown to correlate with activities or traits in the foxes like barking, like having curly tails, like having floppy ears, like having spots. Just like our domino.
This guy.
I don't know if he would have a curly tail. He has a docked tail, but
Yeah, poor guy.
there are several different starting decks that you can start with of blank foxes, and you get to roll dice based on the parent generation's traits.
Yeah.
Like whether they have floppy